wouldn't you be more fulfilled if you had someone you could speak to in real life, someone to spend time with? Would you? No. No. No, I don't particularly give a shit about that. No. No, I don't find that to be something that would help me. I don't. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about other people. I don't. Quite frankly, I don't care about other people that I am very close to, much less people that I am not very close to. You know, I care about my family, right? Sure, of course, right? Of course I do. Do I care about seeing my family in person? Not really. No, not really. And that's my family, right? These are the people that I supposedly love more than anybody else in the world, right? And do I care about seeing them? Do I care about being with them? It would be incorrect to say that I don't care. What would be correct is to say that I do care. I care, and I would prefer not to see them. I do care, and I would actively prefer that I don't see them. On a scale of -10 to +10, where +10 is that they are the most strong positive influence in my life, and seeing them like actively improves my life more than anything else that exists. And a -10 is, negative, right? They diminish my life. My life is worse as a result of seeing them. Negative is bad, of course, right? On a scale of -10 to +10, if I had to tell you the impact of seeing my family members who I love my family, and I have no disagreements with them. We've never had any problems. We've never had any conflicts. I have absolutely nothing against them. And on a scale of -10 to +10, where the negative numbers are indications of a thing that diminishes my quality of life. My life is better if I don't do these things. And the positive end is that my life is better if I do these things. I would place seeing my family on the negative end, not significantly. -1, right? -1. Not much at all, but negative, right? Negative. A 0 would be better, right? It would be better to not see them and to experience a 0 rather than a -1. And again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're wonderful people. They're fantastic people. Great parents, great siblings, great aunts and uncles, like wonderful, right? I have no complaints. Just for me, for me in my own personal life, it is a negative experience for me to be with them. And again, that's not a judgment against them. That's not their fault. It's just for me and for who I am. Seeing them, being with them, spending time with them diminishes my life. My life is less than it would otherwise be when I have to spend time with them. And I recognize that that's not the way the rest of the world is. I don't really have an answer for that. I wish that I did. Right? I wish that I did. I wish that I could tell you, this is the reason why my life feels better without them, right? And to be perfectly honest, I wish that it wasn't the case. I wish that I felt the way everybody else felt, apparently. I wish that I loved seeing my family and they made me so happy and joyful. I wish that during the holiday season, it was time to see my family and I went, oh golly goodness, I'm so happy to see my family and spend time with them. But that's not the case. That's not the case. If I had a choice, and as an adult, I arguably have somewhat of a choice. Somewhat. Within reason, of course. As an adult, I arguably have somewhat of a choice, and I can choose sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I can choose to not spend time with them when I'm supposed to, quote unquote, air quotes, quote unquote, supposed to spend time with them, right? And I find that I'm significantly happier. I'm happier not seeing them, Again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not bad people at all. They don't mistreat me. They don't mistreat me. They don't judge me. They don't hurt me. There's nothing negative about it in terms of how they are to me. It's just that for me as a person, spending time doing that is more negative than spending time doing things that I would actually prefer to do. And so, through no fault of their own, right? Again, my family is wonderful. They're wonderful people. But my time spent by myself is significantly more enjoyable than my time spent with my family, right? So it's like in a vacuum, my time spent with my family is enjoyable. It's fun. I have fun when I see them. It's a good time, and I'm happy to see them. But if I spent the exact same time not with them instead, I would have more fun, and that's not their fault. That's not that's me, right? That's just the way I am. That's just the way I feel about things. I could spend time with them and it's an 8 out of 10, right? It's a great time. I had a great time. Good experience, right? Great. It was great. I could have also just stayed home and done literally nothing of value and had a 9 out of 10. Oddly, I would enjoy myself more without them. And again, that's not a mark against them. That's just me preferring time on my own. And I recognize that that is not the way that most other people feel. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating because when you tell somebody something like that, well, I should back up. I should say you can't tell somebody something like that. You cannot. You are not allowed to provide that opinion to somebody else because somebody else will argue against you to their grave. They will argue against you. They will tell you in no uncertain terms how wrong you are for preferring to spend time on your own, right? If you prefer to spend time by yourself rather than with other people, you are obviously, objectively, completely wrong in the eyes of, I don't know, everybody else, right? If you would prefer to be on your own rather than spending time with your quote unquote friends or family or whatever it is, you are obviously wrong. And not just wrong in the opinion of the person that you're talking to. You are wrong in the eyes of the world as a whole, right? Everything that exists will tell you that you are wrong. And that makes it really difficult to have a conversation about that. You can't legitimately have a discussion about that with anybody because there's no, like, you're not going to convince them of your perspective, right? And certainly they're not going to convince you. I mean, that's just the way that you feel, right? Somebody else loving their family more than their own personal free time isn't going to convince me of that, right? And vice versa. I'm not going to convince them. So we're just never going to see eye to eye on that. So the situation that occurs is that in that discussion, the inevitable answer, the repeated answer that people will return to, the thing that people will tell you over and over again, and you can argue against it all day long. It really doesn't matter how much you tell somebody otherwise. The answer that you will always hear over and over and that they will always return to is that you should treasure your interpersonal connections and that these connections are the thing that should bring value to your life. I disagree. I think what I would say is that if the life that you, and my own personal opinion, right? Of course, plenty of people would disagree. What I would say is that if the life that you live depends on other people to give it value. If your life is only valuable as a result of the interactions that you have with other people, I think that your life is not valuable. I think that's what I would say. I think that's the statement that I would make. And again, my perspective, right? Certainly other people feel otherwise. And it's not even close. It's not even like a 50-50 where half the people are on my side. The vast majority of people would disagree, right? The vast majority of people would tell you that their interpersonal relationships, their friendships, relationships, family, whatever it is, these things bring value to their lives. You know, good for them, right? Good for you if that's the case. But I don't see that for myself, you know, in the experiences that I've had in my life. I don't see that for myself. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating when you want to talk to somebody about problems and their answer to those problems is, well, why don't you just have some interpersonal relationships? Because that's not what I fucking want. Because my life is better without them. Right? It's very hard to talk to somebody about that, because that's all they will say. You know, people are social creatures in general, for the most part. And again, I acknowledge that I'm in the minority for sure. I'm arguably wrong. I'm arguably wrong overall, at least compared to the opinions of the rest of the world. I'm wrong, right? But the opinions of the rest of the world, the things that other people would tell you to do, the advice that other people would give you, people would say that you should foster, you should nurture, you should develop, you should seek, you should improve your interpersonal relationships with other people, and that will magically improve the quality of your life. I disagree. I disagree.